Hello again. After looking at sultanas and grand viziers, it's time to continue this series with another episode looking at the 18th and 19th century history of the Ottoman Empire. In this video, we will see gradual decline, reform and renewal, followed by more trouble and internal turmoil. After losing most of Hungary, the European border of the Ottoman Empire was mostly stable for about 2 decades, although Sultan Ahmed III interfered in the Swedish-Russian War and achieved a victory, forcing Russia to raze several fortresses and return Azov to the Ottomans. Morea was soon taken back from Venice, but in Hungary, where the Ottomans wanted to take revenge for the disastrous siege of Vienna, a major battle was lost at Petervárad, and in the new peace treaty, Austria took the Banat and Belgrade, along with northern Serbia and Oltenia. Reforms were implemented during this period, although they encountered serious resistance by the Islamic clergy, which hindered progress. Nonetheless, the printing press was finally adopted, publishing non-religious books in the 1730s and 40s under Mahmud I. In 1732, Spain conquered Oran in North Africa. The Ottoman counterattack failed, resulting in massive losses in the Regency of Algiers, although the Spanish would abandon this fort by the end of the century. Another war with Austria and Russia broke out in 1735. Previously lost lands in Bosnia, Serbia, and Wallachia were retaken in a surprising victory, but Azov was once again lost to the Russians, this time permanently. Peace lasted a full generation after this, until the first part of Mustafa III's reign. The population reached 30 million, although epidemic diseases like the plague and famine were still present. Egypt and Anatolia were both hit by famine during this period. Literacy rates remained low, around 2 to 3%, so scribes had to be hired to communicate with the government. Persian was still the literary language for the educated, while the masses spoke Arabic in the Middle East and North Africa, with Turkish being the main language only in Anatolia, although with the Arabic alphabet. The proportion of Muslims hovered at 60%. This increased after the loss of more European and African territories. Ottoman architecture was influenced by the Baroque style, followed by neoclassical motifs and eclecticism. During the long peace, the Ottoman military further declined. This was evident when in 1768 a new war with Russia commenced, after Ukrainian Haidamakas massacred an Ottoman town. Russian troops reached Bucharest, then Bulgaria. Their fleet launched an expedition in the Mediterranean, harassing ports in Egypt and Lebanon. After 6 years of war, Crimea was lost, along with Kerch and some lands near the Bug River. Russia became the protector of Orthodox Christians living in the Ottoman Empire, while Austria took Bukovina in northern Moldavia. In 1789, Belgrade fell to the Austrians, but it was given back 2 years later. The new Sultan, Selim III, attempted to reform the military, creating a small corps of new troops composed of Turkish peasants from Anatolia, equipped with modern weapons and drilled by foreign officers. Religious leaders resisted once again, while the Janissary revolted against these reforms, so the new army could not be fully integrated into the military. In 1798, French troops landed in Egypt with Napoleon. Battles were fought there and in Palestine and Lebanon, before Bonaparte departed and the French expedition failed. The empire did not have peace though, because a massacre in Serbia by the Janissary provoked an uprising in 1804, which lasted until 1813, and could only be put down after Bessarabia was lost to Russia in a new war. A second uprising started in 1815, and soon the semi-independent Principality of Serbia was recognized by the Ottomans. In the meantime, Selim III was deposed in 1807 by the revolting Janissary, who were protecting their privileges. Their reforms failed. In Egypt, Albanian troops reinstituted Ottoman rule, but infighting with the Mamluks lasted for years, even after Muhammad Ali Pasha took power in 1805. He wanted to modernize Egypt, but first he had to eliminate the Mamluk elite, then restore Ottoman rule in Arabia, and finally fight against the Greek rebels in the Balkans from 1821. This uprising was ultimately successful. Ottoman forces were beaten both on land and at sea, after which the southern part of modern-day Greece achieved independence in 1829. A year later, France invaded Algeria and quickly seized it with minimal losses, while in the province itself, hundreds of thousands lost their lives. Sultan Mahmud II implemented reforms during this period. He abolished the Janissary Corps in 1826 and replaced it with a European-style conscripted army, abolished old offices, and raised salaries to get rid of bribery. Clothing was changed, the fez was adopted by both the military and the civilian sector, while the legal system was also modernized in the 1830s by prescribing fair trials regardless of religion, and by creating a system of separate competencies, religious and civil. This decade was also marked by the First Egyptian-Ottoman War, in which Muhammad Ali Pasha's French-trained forces defeated the Ottomans. Constantinople was not attacked, as the Sultan turned to Russia for help, but Ali finally got what he had been promised before: the governorship of Crete, Syria, and Lebanon. Egypt was transformed under his leadership, tax farming was abolished, lands were nationalized, all producers had to sell their goods to the state, which resulted in great profits. Modern factories were built, along with a shipyard, entire industries were established, along with technical schools and a modern bureaucracy. In 1839, the new Sultan, Abdulmejid I, tried to take back the Levant, but by then, the Ottoman Empire was just a playground where other great powers clashed. Egypt was backed by the French. Ali's continued expansion threatened British and Austrian interests, so they interfered and ensured an Ottoman victory, after which the Levant was retaken, while Egypt remained virtually independent, although nominally it was still part of the empire. Under Abdulmejid, more reforms came, affecting the army, secular law, modern factories, and the banking system. Ironically, the Christian population enjoyed a higher level of education, there were fewer Turkish students, and they still focused on theology and Arabic language, relying on the Arabic alphabet. Ethnic Greeks, Christians, and Jews owned many businesses, which would lead to further trouble later on. The Ottoman Empire participated in the Crimean War, which ended with a Russian defeat, but they could only finance it with foreign loans. The Caucasian Wars against Russia continued, more territory was given up, with many Muslims fleeing to the empire. Bankruptcy was declared in 1875. A few years later, a council of foreign delegates took control of Turkish debt, ensuring the continuous inflow of mostly British and French capital and the protection of foreign interests. A Bulgarian uprising in 1876 was brutally suppressed. Russia then interfered and almost reached Constantinople, defeating the Ottomans in several battles. In the Treaty of San Stefano, a large Bulgarian state was created, but this Russian advance was opposed by the other great powers, who quickly convened in Berlin and agreed to alter the outcome. Romania, Serbia, and Montenegro became fully independent, while a small Bulgaria remained within the empire. Britain took control of Cyprus, and Bosnia-Herzegovina was occupied by Austria-Hungary. In 1882, Egypt revolted against foreign influence. This was put down by British troops, seeing that Sultan Abdulhamid II was too afraid of a coup, so he didn't even mobilize his own army to prevent this takeover. A year later, a German military mission arrived. They would train many officers, increasing German influence within the army. Massacres of ethnic Armenians began in the 1890s as the Sultan reasserted pan-Islamism. The empire lost more nominally controlled territories. Egypt and Cyprus were already gone. They were followed by Tunis, Bulgaria, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. With these losses, the population shrank. Around 1900, it was only 19 million, although millions arrived as refugees. The Young Turk movement restored the Ottoman Constitution of 1876 which had been short-lived, this second constitutional era established multi-party politics and the parliament. However, it came too late to prevent more defeats. Libya and the Dodecanese were lost in 1911 to Italy, while the two Balkan Wars almost pushed the Ottomans out of Europe. Soon, the Great War broke out, but I've already talked about Ottoman participation in World War I in another video. Thanks for watching, see you next time.